Yo, hey everybody, welcome to Elden Dogs. It's your favorite podcast about Elden Ring and beer and deathright birds and spending way too much time trying to get every piece of armor and weapon in the game. Hi, that's me. I am Sir Gideon Ofnir. I am obsessive with 100%ing things. It's an issue, and my library is full, and my heart is empty.
My name's Alexander Iron Fist, or Mr. Iron Fist, or however you want to say it. I like long walks on the beaches of Caelid. I like watching the sunset in the Weeping Peninsula, but it always seems to be raining. And I'm just here for a good time.
It's storytelling. It's weeping. The peninsula.
Castle Morn. He's mourning.
Here is the Cave of Sadness.
I bet you it's not very happy in there.
Ooh, the Dungeon of Depression. The laundry's never done down here.
Are those dirty clothes or clean? Which pile?
I'm at work. We'll call it a win. And everybody, Elden Dogs is back. Now, there is a pattern I'm seeing for Elden Dogs until the DLC comes out where I just feel a little more loose about it. And it's if you're a Patreon supporter, you've heard of Doggies After Dark. And it's a little more irrelevant, and I think we might be moving. I'm just having more fun with Elden Dogs these days. That's how I feel.
Elden Dogs is great.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've said it a million times, but I don't know if I would have kept playing the game as long as I did if we didn't start talking about it as early as we did.
Yeah.
Because I am notorious for playing 75% of a game and then being like, I don't want this to end. And then I don't beat it. Which is a terrible thing to do. Well,
in Elden Ring, I get so excited still thinking about the game. Recently, I have new additions to my library as Sir Gideon Ofnir. I have the official art books, volume 1 and 2, and I'm trying to just take my time and soak in the imagery, but it's great actually getting to see a lot of the concept art and see what they were aiming for, seeing locations and how accurate they wound up being. But I also got the Elden Ring strategy guide, Volume 2, Shards of the Shattering, I forget what it's called. It's got a complete bestiary of...
That was my favorite part of it.
Every enemy and boss in the game. And I've read, I mean, that's over half of the book, and I've read almost, I'd say, 3/4 of that, of the bestiary. It's less lore heavy than I want it to be, but it's super interesting gameplay-wise, talking about... strengths, weaknesses, what weapons are good, what Ashes of War works for everything. I don't think too critically generally about the bosses or anything. I have my play type for a character, and I kind of stick to it. And the fact that they're like, oh, you definitely want to do this, bring some jerky, definitely get some crawfish daddies. You're gonna need some of those that good meal to up your attack, and don't use a piercing weapon. I'm just like, I didn't think that hard.
Yeah, but then the moment I switch weapons, I'm like, I'm garbage for like a solid hour until I learn how a halberd works.
Yeah, I should just have a play where I always, whatever weapon I get is just the one that I immediately start using.
There was a...
Just switch all the time.
I can't remember the name of the streamer, but there's a guy on YouTube who he plays Elden Ring, and he starts as a wretch with nothing, and every time he dies, he loses his weapon. And he has to find a new weapon in the world before he can start using it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
We are drinking a special beer for this episode, and just smell it, Tyler.
It is floral. I can smell it from here already.
This is a fresh hop IPA from Offset Brewing out of Park City, Utah. Blown away. This is the first beer I had there because fresh hops, if they have them, if they're fresh, they're not always around. It's so good. Yep, it's called Jackson Hop Farm. This beer showcases 2 amazing hops with Idaho hops, featuring 2023 Harvest Wet Whole Cone Idaho 7 and EX Experimental 158 Pink T90 pellets. It's fresh. It's fragrant. It's hazy. It's delicious. Cheers, sir. Now, I'm going to teach you a little bit about IPAs real quick. Sidebar. Have you ever heard of a LIPA?
A LIPA?
Yeah.
No.
It's because you've never been to Utah. Now, in Utah, I don't know if you've ever been,
Is it someone with the ABV?
They can't have anything on draft over 5%. So they make their pale ales, everything is up to 5%. And so like they don't have a hazy IPA, but they have a hazy pale ale that sits at 5%. And they call them IPAs because essentially they're making an IPA, but they're keeping the ABV down.
When I moved to Denver and I was buying Fat Tire from a grocery store before they passed the deal, which happened shortly after I had moved there. But for the first couple months that I lived in Denver, they were not allowed to sell above 5% ABV at a grocery store.
Crazy.
It has to be a liquor store. And I didn't know that. I was drinking like 3.8% Fat Tires. I would drink 12 of them and be like, I'm not inebriated in the slightest.
I've never been more sad in my heart from a story anyone's ever told.
Yeah.
In the history of my life.
And it was like, I think I bought a case one day coinciding with a video game release I was looking forward to.
That's sadder than you letting Bach die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, technically he's still alive. He's just the vegetable. I didn't sign the DNR, so I mean, she can't pull his plug.
It's just Radala sitting there in a catatonic state anyways. And maybe a big old graven mass of mages just...
Yeah.
Want to buy something?
Every now and again, just throwing books at each other.
Just shoving money in its mouth. Like, what are we doing here? So the end game. This is what's going to happen. You know, you've beaten the game. What do you do now? It doesn't automatically kick you into New Game Plus. So New Game Plus is unlocked by going to the round table hold and using the round table. So what carries over in New Game Plus? Nearly all of your consumables. Remembrances are kept, but you don't get them until you defeat the boss again. So you'll get like 2 remembrances when you do beat them in New Game Plus. You'll retain nearly all of your tools, upgrade materials, crafting materials, arrows and bolts, spirit ashes, ashes of war. And these key items, let's just run through the list. Stone sword keys, dragon hearts, lost ashes of war, celestial dew, larval tears, cookbooks, crystal tears, wet blades, crack pots, ritual pots. You need those.
Oh, yeah.
Perfume bottles, memory stones, crafting kits, and maps. And Torrent actually carries over.
So you get Torrent right away?
So you're able to do a maidenless run. I don't know if it's not the whole way, but much further anyways. I think you can do a maidenless run if you do like some glitchy shit.
Yeah, because people were talking about it shortly after launch, and I think Sap tried to do it for a while. And then he switched to Wretch and never leveled up. He did not beat the game. He made it far, though.
Maybe it's because he never leveled up.
Yeah. I mean, you're putting yourself at a serious disadvantage.
So all those things will carry over. What changes in New Game Plus? The runes that you receive from enemies increases, varying between 5 times and 2 times for later bosses. And at each additional journey, New Game Plus 2, New Game Plus 3 increases with each version, with each run. Enemies and bosses deal more damage and have more health. Movement slowdown from certain hazards are removed. This is the weird one. Lava and swamps, you don't get slowed down when you run through them.
Oh, really?
You can charge through the Lake of Rot and just sprint.
No shit.
Very weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've heard people posit that maybe it was a mistake, but it's just still in there. So
They were like, they already did this once. Let's just let them speed through it.
there's my other podcast, Need for Speed Running. That's a thing that some games do where speedrunners will find something they love and they attach to as like it's wasn't intended, but it's a fun thing for them. And some games like patch it out or make things more difficult. And sometimes I get it, it's for gameplay balancing. Sometimes there's no reason to take it out, and it just seems like you don't want fun.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're playing New Game Plus, you've already beaten the game at this point, and what is it really hurting to leave it in, especially if the speedrunning community is going to continue to make content about your game, just further keeping it in the zeitgeist.
And we're going to do a speedrunning episode at some point soon. But like one of the key things was the Ash of War Hoarfrost Stomp, which was just integral to defeating like the Godskin duo and a few things. And they're like, we're going to just tweak that one down. You guys are OP. And yeah, my first one, Sword of Night and Flame, it's called Crutches. And I was just using that to get through everything. Dylan's like, I don't think you're cheating, but
You're towing the line.
Definitely leaning on something. And yeah, going through the game again, there's been some bosses like, oh, this is a tough boss. Wow. They can really kill me. After Journey 8, because you can do up to New Game Plus 8, after 8, the game scaling stops and remains identical on subsequent playthroughs. At that point, they're probably like, you slow down for a little bit.
There's a message that pops up after you beat it. It's like, for gaming addiction, please contact. It's okay to ask for help. You're obviously a masochist.
Go to the lands outside.
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
You need sunshine.
So we're going to talk about some of, we talked about the locations and we talked about, the set dungeons, the set bosses that you're likely to run into, but there are a number of world bosses that kind of have like themes or like, the Deathrite Birds, the Bell-Bearing Hunters, the Knights Cavalry. And we're going to go through some of them and a little more lore talk because we didn't really talk about the birds before, the Deathrite Birds. In the time there was no Erd Tree, death was burned in ghost flame. Death birds were the keepers of that fire, and these birds are graveyard fire keepers. They rake out the ashen remains of the dead from their kilns and tend the ghost flame. So before the Erd Tree, this was essentially how death was handled or happened in the lands between. The Deathrite Birds were the keepers of the ghost flame, which still exists, believed to be the offspring of an entity called the Twin Bird. This is one of the things where there's like 3 items that mention something with a lot of, it's like, oh, okay, well that describes the times before. But the Twin Bird is an envoy of an outer god, so its own god out there, and it's depicted as a 2-headed bird with half red and half blue plumage. 3 items showed this bird: the Twin Bird kite shield, the red feathered branch sword, and the blue feathered branch sword. And some priests were permitted to come among the death birds. I imagine they might have been scared the first time.
Yeah. And well, you see a lot of fucked up shit in the lands between.
Yeah.
I'm scared of the majority of it, so maybe I'm biased, but I would imagine it would be terrifying.
Is that a rat? I am not going in there.
It's a bat. It's a rat. It's flying.
Is that a human-sized bat hanging upside down? I mean, these priests were walking around among the Deathrite Birds, which reminds me of Grizzly Man. You ever seen that movie?
Is that the one where the guy died?
Where the guy's like, I live with the Grizzlies. They love me. He was found dead 3 months later. Imagine the Grizzly Man in the lands between, hanging out with Rune Bears. The Rune Bear Man.
Oh, my God. That's a nightmare.
I would ride him like a cat riding my foot, But if you tamed a Rune Bear, you actually are above Elden Lord. It's like a new title above Elden Lord.
Yeah, because, I mean, at that point, you have not defeated but bested the hardest enemy in the game.
Yeah, everything else cowers in fear.
Yeah, I mean, it's Rune. It's in the name.
The Rune Bear Man. Until he was found dead, eaten by Rune Bears. There are 2 different kinds of death birds. There are the death birds and the Deathrite Birds. The first death bird you find in the War Master's shack, by the War Master's shack, drops a blue feathered branch sword. There's one in the Weeping Peninsula that drops a sacrificial axe. Essentially what you're going to learn about them from the items. It's kind of classic. The Scenic Isle, which is where you can also find patches, a red feathered branch sword, and the capital outskirts, the Twin Bird kite shield. Now the Deathrite Birds are the scarier ones. Much bigger. They come out generally only at night, which is a bad sign. That's also when most serial killers work.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Serial killers kind of work whenever.
Yeah, no, I think
Michael Myers, though.
nighttime.
Yeah.
Well, no, he follows her home from school that one day.
Freddy Krueger? I don't think we have anyone.
That's got to be nighttime because most people sleep at nighttime.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Unless you're like a third shift guy. And then that way Freddy's like setting his alarm for 11 a.m.
He's hanging out outside of Zad's. These guys are going to go to sleep eventually.
Well,
Milwaukee Dive Bar, if you haven't heard of it. The lore of Zad's would be a horrible episode.
Oh, my God. No, it makes sense that would come out at night because as the human race, like bad things just always happened at night. Mm-hmm. Like Donald Glover has that classic bit where it's like a few hundred years ago, some people could just roll up at night and murder everybody in a village. And then you'd be like, someone would walk up and be like, well, it was nighttime. What did you expect?
But they didn't. Now, that only really started happening, 70s, 60s, when there was a mental health crisis in America and serial killers started going crazy.
Serial killers have been around forever.
But serial killers aren't even the issue. It's enabled political nut jobs.
Yeah.
Elden dogs. The Deathrite birds. The lowest level, the easiest one you'll run into is outside of the Academy Gate Town. This one will drop the Ancient Death Rancor, a death sorcery. Summons a horde of vengeful spirits that chases foes. They are cinders of the Ancient Death Hex. Raked from the fires of the Ghost Flame by death birds. So you die, you turn into these cinders, and they rake you out, and they just make you spirits to chase things. Sounds like bad.
Yeah, it's just typically what I do every Halloween.
That's what we do.
I just show up and scare kids.
This is a death rake.
Like, I'm sorry, I was just here for a Snickers.
It's for my leaves. Kaled, the Deathrite bird, will drop Death's Poker, which reminds me of What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, or the movie. If you've seen the Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi movie, he's like Vladislav the Poker. He pokes. I like to poke. The Death's Poker. It's a great sword. Barbed sword carried by deathbirds. It has the unique skill Ghost Flame Ignition, which sets the ground ablaze with Ghost Flame. So you're getting all of that good Ghost Flame stuff here.
Dude, that's so heavy metal, man. That's something Ghost would do at a concert.
That is heavy metal. This is the Death's Poker dropped by a Deathrite bird. Heavy metal t-shirts are just going, they're screaming in joy at every word we're saying.
Yeah, you can't read them.
No.
But it's on there.
Is that a word? I have one that looks super heavy metal, but it's for my buddy from the Nerd Lair. It's a YouTube channel, and it's got like a Game Boy hidden inside of it, but no one can read what it looks like. It's one of my favorite shirts to wear to shows.
Someone came into the bar the other day with one that said ABBA, but it was all metal, like heavy metal font.
Famously,
I was like,
one of your favorite bands.
yes, Voulez-vous.
What's that mean?
It's an album by...
What's it actually mean, though, in French?
I have no fucking idea.
Okay.
I think it means tasty jam.
I'll trust you. The Mountaintops of the Giants. It'll drop the Death Ritual Spear. It's a ritual spear used by priests of old who were permitted to come among the deathbirds and didn't shit their pants every time they did.
Y'all are cool. Take this stick.
They're like, oh, what do I do now that I'm in here? The priests became guardians of the birds through the rite of death, which also serves as an oath sworn to their distant resurrection. Good for them. I'm proud of them, guys. And it had a unique skill, the Spear Call Ritual, which summons a rain of death spears. Someone to just like use going through the glossary of heavy metal terms, things that they can use, and they're just adjective and noun, like death spear.
Yep.
Ghost flame.
Yeah, that is what they're doing. They're using the metal dictionary to name things.
And it works. It doesn't fail. And when you see it, it kind of holds up, in my opinion.
Yeah, like Murder Fist.
Nailed it.
Wait, that's a podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, I think that's a podcast.
Well, we don't like other podcasts. We do, but we prefer ours. And so should you. And the Apostate Derelict. This is the toughest Deathrite bird in the game. This is the one by the only walking mausoleum that kind of attacks you. This has the explosive Ghost Flame death sorcery. Slams the staff in the ground and causes a massive explosion of Ghost Flame.
Fucking gnarly.
So essentially just Ghost Flame is raining down on these fools. I like the Deathrite birds. You, Tyler, I don't imagine have beaten all of them.
Nope.
Because you, I don't think, have done much after beating the game, really.
Close to zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you ran into them. I'm sure you ran into a death bird at some point.
I don't think I've actually ran into one in the game, but I have watched a YouTube video where a guy ran into one.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because once I beat the game, I had so much shit that I wanted to play, or we were going to talk about on the podcast, that once I put a pin in it, I was like, I'll come back and do New Game Plus after some time has passed, and then I can like replay the game again and this time be like good at it from the start.
Yeah.
So
I hate that I have to play other video games. I could still be playing Elden Ring, but I'm required by the podcast to play other games as well. And they're great, But man, every time I go back to Elden Ring, I'm always on the subreddit, and it's just the gift that keeps on giving. I saw a post that says, "Why are there stone graves on like above the ground? Like, who's buried there? What's up with that?" And I'm like, well, someone said, well, they're criminals that they didn't want to get reassimilated into the Erd tree again through the roots. I was like, I never thought about that in the game. Like,
that's true.
There's always more lore in the game if you're looking for it, which there's not many games built that deep.
Yeah, and I mean, for me to have to actually dig to get the lore or start understanding what's going on in the world through descriptions and just paying attention in the game.
Yeah.
I'm used to Sony exclusives where like you are literally on one track as one player and everything is exposition fed to you and built more cinematically like a movie. Pure exploration, hard to find a game that I've been as into that is not in my wheelhouse.
So we're playing Final Fantasy X for a Raw Dogs episode or one of our other shows. And how far are you in FF10 right now?
I just passed the Blitzball tournament thing.
You are not moving fast.
Been working.
Okay, I don't know if we'll record it next week, but I'm playing that game now, and after playing Bloodborne and Elden Ring, I look at other games differently too, and just the boring lore stuff which is what I would have called it back when I played it on the PS2. Now I'm like, feed me. There was thousands of years of summoners. What were their names?
I want every single one.
I need to know. And Kamari was like this beast that was taking care of Yuna and raised alongside her. I'm like, he's Blythe. And there's this giant.
Oh my God, he is.
There's this giant like outer god Sin, which just shows up every 10 years. Like it's like an outer god or something. I'm playing Elden Ring in my mind always. There is our favorite superhero villain douchebag weirdo, the Bell-bearing Hunter. I like to think of him as a superhero because it is Elmer of the Briar, and he puts on like his outfit and he just goes off and like kills people in the middle of the night. He's just like kind of a super villain Jeffrey Dahmer type or something.
Yeah, with a weird fixation on bells.
He just wants those bells.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, some people collect nipple belts.
I mean, I have like 2 or 3 of them, but
I have artificial nipple belts.
I do too.
It's more tasteful.
I do be artificial.
The Bell-bearing Hunter is running around 4 times in the world. There's the Bone Peddler's Bell-bearing in the Hunter War Master's shack. Now, if you want to find these guys, it's got to be nighttime, and you have to like load in, like travel to
like the nearest grace.
To this location. Yeah, like travel in there. Sometimes you like the first time I ran into these guys, I was just trying to go buy something. I think it was the Turtle Pope. I was trying to go see him, and I didn't know that there could just be an enemy spawning in, and it scared the shit out of me. And then he has a floating sword.
Not very cash money of him.
Not fair. And then when you get it, it doesn't work as good as it does for him. And then it feels double cheap.
I feel like that is the case for everything in the game. Because I get my ass smacked by something, and then I end up getting it, and I'm like, well, this is not as good as Moonveil. This is not cutting it.
Why would I try anything else?
Yeah, I can unsheath and shoot magic. I don't need anything else. That's my one move.
And it's the coolest thing you can do almost.
Yeah. And then I switch to my staff and I run away just throwing pebbles at things.
Well, that's your problem is you're just using pebbles.
Glintstone pebbles. It actually works pretty well.
It sounds like a cereal you'd get in the lands between.
Yeah, it comes in a bag and not a box.
Or a bag in a box.
No, I'm talking about,
You're thinking it's a knockoff.
Yeah, because it's not Fruity Pebbles.
That's like Thop's brand Glintstone Pebbles.
It's like Kroger brand Fruity Pebbles.
It's the same thing. Just eat it.
It's just cheaper and you get more of it.
That's what Ronala said to little Rykard, and that's why he turned mad. He didn't get the right Glintstone Pebbles as a kid, and he got pissed.
Yeah. I mean, naturally.
I would too.
I flipped a table once.
That was yesterday.
These are not Cocoa Pebbles.
These aren't Cocoa Pebbles. These are Cocoa Devils. It's a knockoff. And you're going to want to get these bell bearings because some of these items, to be able to buy them, saves a lot of time with crafting, and it's these carry over. So like the Bone Peddler's Bell Bearing, you get thin and hefty beast bones. If you want to craft a lot of arrows and not have to go hunt beasts, you want it. The Meat Peddler's Bell Bearing at the Church of Vows. That's your pickled turtle meat for exalted flesh and buffing meats.
I could definitely use that.
Before I get into a fight, I'll eat like 10 hot dogs, and I get super powered up about it.
Yeah.
It helps.
I run out of stamina so quickly. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. I definitely probably should re-roll and fix that, but at the same time...
Or just go by, what's the stamina? Is that the crawfish?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what it is. Medicine Peddler's Bell Bearing from the Hermit Merchant in Altus. Boluses for status effects. So if you want to buff yourself or like prevent status effects, you're going to want that. And the Gravity Stone Peddler's Bell Bearing in Caelid. Gravity Stone Fan and Chunk. This uses FP for magic items. This is great if you want to do magic spells, but you're too dumb to do them.
Makes you temporarily smart.
Yeah.
So did you buff a lot throughout the whole game? Because I didn't start actually eating shit like until way late.
I didn't do a lot of buffing.
I started to towards the end because I took that break, so I was getting my ass handed to me when I came back.
Mm-hmm. No, not for me. I almost never buffed. My second playthrough, I did a lot more when I would run into bosses that were actually challenging me. That's when I start dropping rune arcs. That's when I start using, pickled turtle meat was a big one. But, you put them on your hotkeys and you're in the middle of a battle and you're just like, you pound a potion, you eat your pickled turtle hot dog, and you eat like a meal of crawfish.
And you pray for the best.
It's like a Go-Gurt of like crawfish paste.
Oh my God, that's so gross. Oh.
And then the Elden Beast spawns, finally starts attacking, and you're ready to go. Yeah, so the Bell-Bearing Hunter, if you can, you want to kill these before New Game Plus. The Knights Cavalry. Now, these are known as the Nazgul.
Yeah. Are you talking about the guys all in black on the horses?
So, yeah, somebody was just really doing some heavy metal shit. This whole game, not the whole game. The whole game isn't all like, you look at Jaren's outfit, and he looks like he was drawn by Tetsuya Nomura.
Yeah.
Him and Tidus would get along, which is, he's not someone you want on your side in a battle. Mm-hmm. But the Knights Cavalry, drip. They're blacked out, just fucking the best looking black armor you've ever seen. And they only show up at night, and they see you and they say, fuck you.
They are mad aggressive.
And it's intimidating when you see, like, it's one thing if you're at a bar and someone talks shit to you. It's another if somebody sees you at a bar and they sprint full speed at you, start swinging.
Oh my God. I remember the first time I ran into one in the Weeping Peninsula right by that merchant there.
Yeah.
Like right when you get in, I was like, oh, I'm safe here. There's a merchant. I can take a second and like gather myself. And then all of a sudden the music changes and I'm like, oh, what? And I'm looking around.
There's
and
a chorus all of a sudden.
I'm like, oh no, I'm in trouble.
This is bad. The Knights Cavalry, they're knights who ride atop funeral steeds.
Again, funeral steeds.
Yeah. What kind of a horse is that? Is that a Lipizzaner stallion? It's a funeral steed. Did they come in brown? Nope. They sure don't.
You can get one of them in white. There's only one.
There's only one. And it's like somehow more epic than anything. Yeah. Once led by Margaret the Fell Omen, they hunted Tarnish and other heroes to protect the Erd Tree. When you defeat Margaret, he says, cower in fear of the night, for the hands of the Fell Omen shall brook thee no quarter. And he was right. I do get afraid every night. I can't sleep sometimes because I think about Knights Cavalry. There's 10 of them. So the hands of the Fell Omen, 10 fingers, 2 hands.
God, it's like a reverse Quentin Tarantino with this game.
Yeah, there's not a foot fetish, but there's a hand fetish
There's
for
a hand
sure.
fetish for sure.
Yep, there is just some sexy ass pictures of Ronaldo's hands on everyone's search history. Yeah. Ooh, do you have any? Who's a sexy lady in the game? Raya. We'll go with the lizard lady. You have some pictures of those scaly hands for your boy. Ooh, only hands.
Hands pics, please.
I was my coworkers told me the other day about Foot Finder.
Is that an app?
No, but it's like a spot you find feet to look at.
I mean, it doesn't. I'm not surprised.
Benton Tarantino runs it or something. I don't think it's Quentin though.
Do you have to make an account? Because if I
don't know.
If so, I'll make an account and see if Quentin_Tarantino is taken.
Make an account and just put pictures of all of the Elden Ring characters' feet on there and see if you get subscribers.
Oh, I probably would.
You sure might. Yeah, they only appear at night. There's one in Limgrave, the Weeping Peninsula one you mentioned. That one gives you the Knight Rider flail. The Ash of War that they dropped, the Barricade Shield, is interesting because it says skill made famous by Sir Needhart. Don't give me a proper noun. You know how excited I'm going to get about a proper noun? That's a person? Come on now. That's all we know about him, I think, though. Liurnia South, you get the Ash of War Ice Spear. Skill of the warriors who served Lunar Princess Rani. This makes me believe those are stolen abilities. Yeah, I believe that the Knights Cavalry, if they're using clearly what doesn't look like they're something that is very heavy metal and it seems adjacent, I think they might be out there stealing abilities too. Liurnia North, you can get the Ash of War Giant Hunt. It's a tiger uppercut with large melee weapons, I put.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah. Kaled, the Ash of War Poison Moth Flight. It's a poison slash. Alta's Plateau, you get the Shared Order. It's a skill of Golden Order Fundamentalist Knights. Imbue your... I write outlines and I don't know what I write. Imbue your shit with holy. That must mean your weapons. Forbidden Lands, there's a guy. There's the Dragon Barrow. Oh, wait, we should go back to the other one. The Ash of War Phantom Slash from the Forbidden Lands. That one is a skill inspired by the fond remembrances of the Knights Cavalry. I'll remember the good old days.
Yeah.
When we were all together.
When were those? I can't seem to remember.
1,500 years ago, according to George R.R. Martin on the Colbert Report. Creates an apparition of the knight's former instructor who guides a lunging upward swing. So the ghost goes out first and then they follow. But they did have an instructor who taught them how to be Knights Cavalry, I guess.
And
what is that pink shirt doing in here, soldier? We wear black.
I just picture the guy from Full Metal Jacket.
Arlie Ermy?
Yeah, that's probably who it was.
I had I was talking about Whiplash the other day. You've seen Whiplash.
I own Whiplash.
And I had a moment of epiphany. I'm like, that character from Whiplash is the best insult game since Arlie Ermy from Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as like big insult game that hurts every time I watch it, it's like those two.
Yeah, it's got one of my favorite lines ever, like, get out of my sight before I fucking eviscerate you. And it's like, God, J.K. Simmons, you're just angry.
Every time I'll lock my car in, like, at home in South Dakota when it's outside, and there's no reason to, but I always hear Arlie Ermy from Full Metal Jacket when he just sees that unlocked case, and he throws it in the ground. He says, if it wasn't for assholes like you, there'd be no thievery in the world. And I'm like, if you leave your shit unlocked, you're a little to blame.
Yeah, my car got broken. I'm using air quotes, broken into like 3 weeks ago because I left it unlocked.
It's your fault.
They stole $3 and like some change.
Well, don't rob poor people. We got them.
Yeah, gotcha.
You thought we had money.
No.
We make podcasts.
And I have a Magic the Gathering deck in my glove box. And they had grabbed it and just dropped it. It was just all over the passenger. And so they looked at it and were like, fucking nerd, and just dropped it. And I was like, there's some good shit in there.
They took like a phone charger that you can get 30 of for free at a hotel front desk.
Yeah. They took my little change boat out of my middle console, and now I keep trying to put change in my middle console, and it drops all the way down into the bottom of the console. And now that 67 cents is gone forever.
It might not even be down there.
I'm not going down there.
In the Dragon Barrow, there's the Ash of War Bloodhound Step. This you can become temporarily invisible while dodging at a high speed. That one's cool.
I still don't have that one, and I wanted it so bad.
Well, they trick you. You're trying to get up there to go see Garank, and there's two bridges, and the first one, there's like that big dragon. You're like, nope. And you go down to the other little bridge, and there's the Knights Cavalry. You're like, well, fuck me.
You lose some, you lose some.
This is a great Ash of War. You can circle around a locked on target with this, so you lock on just right behind them.
Yeah, that's sick.
You want it for PvP, I imagine. The PvP episode's coming soon. I've played it once.
I've played it none.
And I don't get it, but we will. The Consecrated Snowfield, though, is the ultimate Knights Cavalry encounter because there's two of them.
Two at once.
And if you defeat one and not the other one comes back. You must defeat both to get them to stop. But that's where you get an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone, but most importantly, the Knights Cavalry set. And that's what my first character, who is Mr. Bradley Elden Lord, he is my face, and he's just wearing that Knights Cavalry drip. And I also have a thing, though, where I like to see my characters' faces. So any armor that obscures the face, I don't like to wear. Mm-hmm. So it's like a commoner's headband, extremely rare headband, but it just looks baller. And it's one of the lowest armor you can get for your head protection, but there's a lot of drip to it.
It keeps you humble, is what it does. It reminds you of where you started.
And everyone else, like they say, oh, he's stupid headband. He's got Knights Cavalry armor, though, so
we won't fuck with him.
No.
Knights Cavalry, I haven't beaten all of them. I've beaten quite a few of them, though. They are not terribly hard if you use Torrent.
Yes.
And because I have a staff and I can range attack with like the guided missile one. I forget the name of it, but they're not terribly hard. They are incredibly frightening the first time you encounter them because you're like, shit, he's mobile.
He's wearing all black armor.
And he's on a horse.
Is that a funeral steed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't really worry me anymore.
Well, you're doing like Genghis Khan techniques.
Yes, he can't hit me if I don't stop moving.
You're so fast, you go and hit, and you're just like, I'm coming back in 2 minutes.
I end up coming. It just ends up being a ring around the rosy situation where we just run in circles until I cut across the circle and hit him, and then jump back in rotation.
And if you ever go for 2 hits in a row, you get punished very hard.
Oh yeah, and sometimes you get greedy.
And Torrent dies. You're like, dude,
he'll be back, but like it's annoying because now I got to run.
I hate it. There are many bell bearings to find in the world, and you want to find these. So when you do a new game plus, if you want to go buy, or just the regular game, you can go buy smithing stones up to +9 for the somber and up to 24 for the regular smithing stones.
I bought a lot of smithing stones before I got Moonveil because I didn't know what weapon I wanted to use.
Yeah.
And I although I like Moonveil, I do dislike that I can't grease it.
Yeah, I do want to do a run where it's only greasable weapons.
It gives you so much more versatility, and there are a lot of samurai swords that inflict bleeding at a pretty good rate that you can use instead of Moonveil. It's just that fucking magic attack that it has is so OP.
Yeah.
But I wish I could have greased. I'd be a greasy cracked boy.
Trust me, take the grease.
Yes.
Yeah.
My next playthrough, I'll definitely go a grease run.
Well, the smithing stone miner's bell bearing. The first one you get in a boss fight in the Ray Lucaria tunnel. The second one in the sealed tunnel in Altus. The third in the Zamor ruins. So already you're getting to pretty tough scenarios here. And the fourth is the Godskin duo, which you have to beat, but you don't want to.
No.
The Somber Stone Miner's Bell Bearing. This will get special weapons up to +9. The first is the Falling Star Beast. The second is the Crystallian Bosses in Althus Tunnel. The third is a corpse outside the First Church of America in the mountaintops. That one is nice. You just find it. You don't have to beat anything. And the fourth is a corpse on the cliffs in crumbling Far Missoula. Another one is just you find it, which is good. And another one in Far Missoula, number 5, is a side path. So you'll want to go grab those. The Glovewort Picker's Bell Bearing. This gets your regular spirits up to +9. Erd Tree Burial Watchdog in the Wyndham Catacombs Altus. Number 2, Ulcerated Tree Spirit in Giant Mountain Catacombs. And the third is from Far Missoula. It's by the Giant Wormface, which was just vomiting so much death blight on you. Cheese it, stay away. You don't want no part of it.
You don't want no part of this.
And I know you haven't done that.
No.
You don't want no part of that. You saw that and you said no.
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah. And I'm like, I can shoot a billion arrows from far away, and you can't get to me. Then he comes closer than I think he will, and he starts like, blah, blah. I'm like,
all right, I'm going to go.
Going to bed. The Ghost Glovewort Picker's Bell Bearing. Special spirits get up to +9, so you can, power up your boys, or your ladies, or your rats, or
Yourself?
your genderless, headless knights.
Yes.
The first is a corpse in Nokron. The second is a chest guarded by silver tears in Noxtella. And the final one is the Holly Tree near roots by tons of rot kindred. So get those before New Game Plus. There is a limited number of max weapon materials. There's 13 Ancient Dragon Smithing Stones in the game. There's 8 Somber Ancient Dragon Smithing Stones. So you can get 8 of the special weapons up to full power and 13 of the regular weapons up to full power. 6 Great Grave Glovewort, which is for regular spirits, and 4 Great Ghost Gloveworts, which is for your special spirits. I'm not going to list you where they all are. Find them, because it's limited. I have a dream of having every weapon at, +10, and it's a stupid dream, which should never happen. But it'd take a lot of playthroughs.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen, because I just don't have enough time. I have a job. Please support us on Patreon. I'd love to not have a real job.
It would be great.
We are far away. There's key items, 59 cookbooks. Make sure you turn them in.
Damn, there's 59.
59 cookbooks. Think of all the cooks there are in the world.
That's true.
I'd love to see diners, drive-ins, and dives, the lands between.
Guy Fieri rolling up in the Weeping Peninsula.
Yo, we're here at
Castle Morn Steakhouse.
Castle Morn Steakhouse and Grill.
Don't be alarmed by the weird poisonous area just over here. You're gonna want to avoid that. But this is the best smash burger in all of town.
It's the best smash burger south of Ray Lucaria.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's good stuff.
Man, it's amazing how much my brain has just already forgot a lot of proper nouns in the lands between. It's pulling the veil aside here. It's been about a month since we talked about Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I was off on a 2-week trip, and yeah, my brain needs to relook at some of these.
I have 77 hours of Cyberpunk in my brain because I just beat Cyberpunk, like beat the fuck out of it.
Yeah, and
so it's been a while for me too.
It's in one ear. I've retained more Elden Ring than anything else.
Elden Ring stuff, though, I'm getting better with being on the podcast, but a lot of it, just my brain doesn't know where to file it. I'm pretty sure my brain has a junk drawer somewhere just full of Elden Ring lore.
Yeah, I've seen the new Five Nights at Freddy's film, and it addresses that topic.
Does it really?
So we wanted to watch. Carly found this dope-ass new horror film we're going to watch on Halloween, but the site that we found it on didn't have subtitles, and it was a foreign language film. So I don't know if Five Nights at Freddy's is on. I didn't know shit about that game. And I'm guessing if you're listening to this, you might know a little bit, but maybe not.
I mean, the concept of it is pretty simple. And it's scary.
It started off as a mobile game, right?
I believe so.
Well, it's got Matthew Lillard, so count that as a major win. We're having ourselves another beer here. This is from Templin Family Brewing out of Salt Lake City. And fantastic. Another one of our favorite breweries from the trip. This is a Berliner style Weiss, German style wheat beer with lingonberry.
Ooh, I love me a Berliner Weiss.
Yeah, this, just the smell alone. Yeah, you thought I was
close.
You thought I was going to spill that.
Ooh, that smells good.
It's a sipper. When you just feel like the tartness in the sides of your mouth.
That is delicious.
Fantastic. 32 crystal tears, 5 wet blades, 18 larval tears.
I knew there was 18. I looked that up because I was like, how many times can I fuck this up?
I think I only respec'd in my first playthrough like 4 times. One of them was for Rykard's weapon.
I respect for Rykard. That was the third time I respect, because the first time I did it, I was like, man, fuck this magic. I want to be a up close and personal guy. I want to melee.
You do it for a while, and you're like, I don't know if I want to.
It's not safe, is what it is.
This is dangerous being up this close to.
I die a lot more.
The number of enemies that I'm reading in the bestiary, and they say never run away. Just never run straight away from this enemy and start dodge rolling. They will punish you, including the rune bear. They're like, get closer and roll to the side, like straight past it. And everything sounds bad there. But the fact that rolling straight away from it is way worse, and that's all I know how to do when I get scared. Yeah, the first time that I fought Margaret the Fell Omen, he winds up an attack, and I do 20 rolls before he attacks.
Oh my God, he's got such a delay. And he just holds it up in the air.
Can't get me.
I'm over here now. I'm over there.
I'm out of stamina. He hits me.
Yes.
Use all your remembrances and use it at the 7 walking mausoleums because you can duplicate your remembrances there, and it's finite. There's 7 of them. Make sure you do that before New Game Plus. The maximum number of some key items: 20 cracked pots.
I wonder how I got like at least 12, maybe.
You gotta get that pot game up.
Yeah, I'm double digits, but I mean, you only need so many pots. 20 would be great, though.
There are 10 ritual pots is the max number of items. 10 perfume bottles.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I would love to do a perfume build.
But I was already committed to the pots. And I was like, this is too much.
I can't be into 2 things at once. You're either into bowling or you like golf.
Yeah. That
Is that kind of true?
That works, yeah.
One involves money. I like this beer. 8 memory stones. You don't need them. You're not going to have more than 4 spells you use regularly anyways.
I have like 6 of them, and it's too much.
You want to use that many.
No.
Cycle through all of them.
Because then, like, I ended up respecing at a certain point to get to do less magic and more of the other ones.
Faith?
Faith, yes.
Yeah. Incantations.
Incantations, that's what I was
Less
looking for.
sorceries.
And having that many options just forced me into a corner where I was like, instead of being good at one thing, like, I'm going to be a jack of all trades rather than a jack of all trades, master of none is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Because I ruined my build at a certain point by trying to do too much with incantations and having spells and having enough dexterity to wield my sword.
Yeah, you can't be everything at once.
You got to pick a lane.
Yeah.
And having that many memory fucking slots is just too much.
3 talisman pouches. You'll want all of those.
Need more of those. I'd like 5, 6, 7, 8.
I could use 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
Now, we're at a dark point of the episode where we talk about the rarest items in the game and how you get them. So let's talk about discovery. Discovery is one of your attributes. There are ways to boost it. The higher the discovery, the more likely you are to find things.
Does it just increase the drop chance for certain things?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can boost it with the arcane attribute. Ways to do that. The silver prickled foulfoot. So this is something that I wound up farming in. Yeah, I like the sound. You get like this nice little sound of you biting into the foot.
It's kind of a little ASMR-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do enjoy it too.
I like it a lot. This gives you plus 50 discovery for 3 minutes.
Does it stack?
It adds on to what you have.
Yeah, so you could...
I don't know if you could eat 2 of them.
Okay.
I don't know. Haven't looked into that. That's a good question.
Yeah, I wonder if they stack, because then you could just feast real quick and not have to worry about it for a
I'm
while.
going to guess not.
Probably not.
The silver scarab talisman is a stupid hat you can wear, but it does plus 75 discovery. That's on the hidden path of the Haley tree.
That's the bug on your head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have that one.
America's Sore Seal and Scar Seal, plus 5 and plus 3. Silver Tear Mask, plus 8. Albinoric Mask, plus 5. I know you're not just like skinning an Albinoric's face. Like it's supposed to be like a mask, like ridiculing, making fun of him. But I feel weird about it regardless.
Yeah, I just keep thinking of Dwight from The Office when he cuts the mannequin face off.
Creepy.
Yeah.
The Witch's Glintstone Crown would be plus 3. The Mask of Confidence, plus 3. Imp Head Elder, plus 2. And the Murray Mask is plus 1. You want the Silver Scarab Talisman. You want the America's Sore Seal, Scar Seal. The Silver Tear Mask is what you want to wear. The Talisman, you want all of these things. You want all of them. How many weapons do you think there are in the game, Tyler?
Oof. There's got to be over 500.
No, you're way over, actually.
Wow, really?
Now, it's Depends on how you want to classify some weapons. There's like those weird tools that have some weapon aspects, but there's 250 melee weapons, 25 ranged weapons, 27 catalysts, staves and seals, 75 shields. So we're at about like 375.
Yeah,
which is a lot.
Yeah.
And I have every single thing that I can get. Now, some of them you can only get one per, like you have to choose this or that. So I don't have necessarily everything on one playthrough. And I'm holding off on New Game Plus for my main character until the DLC.
Good move.
Because I don't want to have I don't want to be fucked. But the rarest weapons in the game. So there was a dark period in my life where I had a list of everything I didn't have in the game. And I would just go and fight single enemies repeatedly until they dropped what I needed, wearing a silver tier mask, wearing my talisman, just respect. So arcane max, everything else dropped. The Gelmir Glintstone staff, 11.1% drop rate. So if you have, I think it's like 100 discovery, 11 out of 100 will drop it. It's dropped by one man serpent in the Volcano Manor, only one, and it's at the end of a long run. It's one that has like a crazy like misshapen head, and it has a staff.
So theoretically, you could have fought him 89 times in a row without a drop.
More, but yeah, that's a good way to put it. And you have to run to there, and you either kill the things along the way or you drag them, and they're just following you.
Either way, bad news bears.
So that's 11.1%. That one's not super low, but it's the fact that you have a long run.
Yeah.
That's what sucks there. The Rotten Crystal Spear and Rotten Crystal Staff, 8%. The Lesser Crystallians within Elphael. There's 3 of them right next to each other. You aggro one, you aggro them all.
And each one has an 8% drop?
Well, one has...
Or is it only one of them that drops it?
Like one has the spear and one has the crystal staff. I forget what the third one has, but you wind up having to kill all 3 of them, and you just hope that they drop it. The Monk's Flame Blade. We're starting to get into the ones that are tougher to get. 4%. There's one single fire monk in the game, in the Giant Conquering Hero's grave. You have to either like drag some enemies behind you or kill them along the way to fight one pretty tough fire monk that drops the flame blade, 4%. So 1 out of 20 if you have max discovery.
And at that point too, you're sacrificing other skills and proficiencies just to have your discovery up that high. So most people, I think, probably aren't playing that way.
No.
Because they still want to be relatively good at their build.
One of the toughest items to get in the game, the Holly Tree Crest Great Shield, 4%. Now, it's not the lowest drop rate, but it's one single enemy near the end of the Halig Tree, and it's the strongest variant of a knight, and it's a Holly Tree Knight. He is the only one that drops the shield, and he can heal himself. He can fuck you up at high levels in 2 hits. It's bad.
How do people find out the drop percentages? Is it like in
back end computer?
Yeah, but like getting in the back end.
I would imagine.
I mean, there's no way. I mean, how else would you even figure that out? I'm not good at math, so.
We'll get to it. Some of the rarest items are from the most common enemies in the game, and you'll never see them unless you go looking.
I do know that there's one that's under 1%.
Yes. The Albinauric Bow. This one also fucking sucks. Now, this is dropped by the Albinauric Wolfback Archers in the Consecrated Snowfield.
I watched a video of a guy trying to get this drop.
That was bad for me. That took me like an hour of dying, just getting sniped constantly. 4% for the bow. It's a good bow, though. Staff of the Guilty. I don't have the percent here, so it's either 4 or 2%, but
it's just a stripper pole.
Who's a guilty little girl? It drops from Thorn Sorcerers, but only those holding the glowing staff, not a smoky staff. Got to be on fire.
Oh, okay.
That one's not too hard to find, actually. The Envoy's Great Horn. This one's pretty tough. It's the big guy. It's the big envoy with the biggest head and the biggest body, the weeble wobble, but it don't fall down, just that big dude.
Yeah.
The Great Horn, huge, colossal weapon, lots of holy damage, 2%, 1 out of 50. And there's a few of these guys in the branches of the tree, but they're hard to get to, and you're going to not like yourself.
And you're going to fall. You're going to fall a lot.
You don't want it. The Ripple Crescent Halberd, 2%. This drops from any Albinork who wields it, so there's a few of them. There's quite a few. It's just this one took a long time. First, you're waiting for a 2% drop rate. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The Brass Shield, not a great shield, 2%. Godric and Ray Lucaria soldiers, common enemies, see them all over. Not the greatest shield, but a rare drop. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Perfumer's Shield, 2%. Either the Perfumer's Grotto or the Shaded Castle. Guardian's Sword Spear, 2%. Erd Tree Guardians near the Minor Erd Tree Church drop this. Now we're getting down to the 1%.
1 out of 100.
1 out of 100 at max discovery.
That's...
the Inverted Hawk Tower Shield. Fallen Hawk Soldiers underground. I love those guys. The Magma Blade, 1%. Deals fire damage from man serpents wielding them. Clean Rot Spear and the Halo Scythe. These are from Clean Rot Knights, both in Kaled. Both very cool weapons. Both 1% drop rate. And then there's two 0.5% weapons. 1 out of 200 enemies drop them. The Noble's Estoc and Noble Slender Sword. So there's like 5 if you want to count it like that. But the Noble's Estoc and Noble Slender Sword. Any wandering noble early in the game. Those fuckers you see everywhere that are one hits that suck. 0.5%. And then our favorite celebrant dancing maniacs at the Windmill Village of Dominula.
The Midsummer Girls?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Celebrant's Sickle, Celebrant's Cleaver, and the Rib Rake.
The Rib Rake.
Which is made out of someone's ribs. It's cool. And it's also a rake.
I don't think I have it, but I might have to go home and look and see if I actually have that, because I slaughtered the entire village.
You have, well, I slaughtered the entire village probably 50 times.
Wouldn't it be crazy if I actually had it, though?
I
don't think I have it.
You have one Celebrant's weapon, because one of them is out of a chest, and it's like a pickup. Not a chest, but you know what I mean. Every landed attack grants 10 runes.
Oh, damn.
Which it's a small amount, but you do a lot of hitting.
That's just still cool, though.
It's very cool. Armor. How many? Okay. Let's just, the biggest number. How many chest armors do you think there are in the game?
136.
201.
Ooh.
A lot.
Yeah, that's way more than I thought.
164 helmets, 201 chest armors, 90 gauntlets, 104 legs, 104 pants, I should say. 208 legs, if you want to get technical. 115 talismans. Now, some of the rarest armors in the game. The Fire Prelate armor set, the big chunky boy armor with a bowl of fire on your head.
Love it.
Love it. 5%, not terrible. The Banished Knight set. This one caused me a lot of problems. This is the unaltered variant from the Banished Knights in Stormvale or Castle Sol. So in Castle Sol, there's a few of them running around. They're the ones that they see you and they can appear behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Mean.
Yeah.
3%. That one took me a while. Plus, there's not a good run up to them. The Pumpkin Helm, the big guy, 3% from a lesser Mad Pumpkin. Depraved Perfumer's set, 2%. These are from the Perfumer's Grotto or the Shaded Castle. Same spot you can get the other Perfumer item we mentioned before, the shield. Blue Silver set, the Albinark Wolfback Archers that we fought. This armor is very cool looking. It's a 2% drop. You're going to get some of this while you're looking for the bow. If you are, it's bad. There's a single archer off by a tree. In your mind, you're like, I'd rather go fight 3 and have better chances you don't. Just go get the easier one that's sitting down first. The Celebrant set, our favorite ladies, the Midsummer Girls. There's blue and festive versions, so you have to get 2 different sets, 1.5%.
Oof.
And then we are down to the 0.5%. And there's 4 items here. The Imp Heads, 3 of them are drop only, including the long-tongued Imp Head, the fanged Imp Head, and the Cat Head. So you got to find an imp that's got those.
You're talking about the green one, right? The little green imp guys that cause bleeding damage.
Yeah.
I have the cat one.
Yeah. So you got a rare one.
Yeah, I got the cat one.
In-
I didn't know that was that rare.
It's one of those things, though. You fight so many, like, there's a chance, because you've killed 200 of them, 300 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a decent chance you might have
I
those.
got that one in like Limgrave on one of my first playthroughs and wore it. And then when I restarted, I went to the same spot and fought the same exact guy, thinking, all right, he's going to drop this fucking cool helmet. I can wear it again. So I have it, but it's not even on my main character. It's just one of my first characters I made before I knew what I was doing in the game.
And I just like to see my face. My two characters are me, that I play mostly are me and then my wife. And I like to see our faces, you know?
Yeah, I was the same way in Cyberpunk.
I should make a character who's super ugly.
There's a guy that made Sonic.
So you're saying they made a pretty character.
I wouldn't call him pretty.
If Dylan was here, he would disagree. The octopus head. Did you know about that?
I did not know about that.
You can wear a little spaghetti.
I could look like Davy Jones.
It doesn't look that cool.
Oh, fuck.
It looks like a little octopus. You got to kill land octopuses. 0.5% drop. The Black Dumpling. I love the name. It's from the first generation Albinaurics and Volcano Manor, the ones that are wearing the face coverings. They drop them. It magnifies the wearer's fears. Sounds like a bad mask. Sounds like a Goosebumps concept.
Yeah.
Amplifies attack power by 10% for a minute when you have madness. Very specific set of circumstances.
Yeah.
And the last one I have here is the one that I like to wear. The Aristocrat Headband. It drops from Noble Sorcerers. 0.5%. It just looks cool. It doesn't really do a lot. There are 64 Spirit Ashes in the game. 91 Ashes of War. There's a lot in this fucking game.
There's a lot more than I thought there was going to be.
70 sorceries.
Damn.
101 incantations.
I only used like 5 different sorceries throughout the entire game.
And I think that's the majority of players. I think that's how a lot of people play.
Some of them are really fucking cool, but they just don't do enough damage, or they use way too much FP than what it's worth.
Or you have a build that's kind of leaning towards one, you know, I'm a Ghost Flame build, or I'm working, you know, with Deathblight. You know, yeah. You kind of specialize a little bit.
Yeah, do I think it'd be cool for the fucking Blizzard one to be able to use it, but like it just doesn't make sense for my playstyle.
I'd love loadouts. I'd love if I could just like, you know, where you go into your armor, you could also click like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 to like
that'd be
your
cool.
different setups, because it takes a while to look through all of it. Bosses in the game. Main bosses, 17. Mini bosses, 16. Field bosses, 105. And invaders, 19.
Damn. I thought there was going to be less invaders.
No, 19 invaders. I mean, you get invaded by the giant killer lady, ogre killer, troll killer. I forget her name. Yeah. She fights us 3 times.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right then. Yeah.
309 sites of grace.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot.
You're going to lose these in New Game Plus, but 309 sites of grace. If you don't have that many, you don't have them all. Achievement hunting. Now, we recently did a dogcast about achievements and how superfluous, how extra they can be. Cool in some games. Achievement hunting for Elden Ring. You'll need to get the 3 different like major cutscene endings. So Flame of Frenzy, Ronnie, and then one of the other ones. I did this by saving my game and uploading it to the cloud and going offline and beating it once and then re-downloading the save. So I didn't have to beat the game that many times to get it.
That's just using your noodle, though.
That's using your noodle. And if you think that I'm a cheater, I don't care. On Xbox, you can go offline to do that. Other achievements: defeat the Shard Bearers and their major bosses. Acquire all 9 legendary armaments. Acquire all 6 legendary Ashen Remains. Acquire all 7 legendary sorceries and incantations. Acquire all 8 legendary talismans. I got most of these without even trying. Arrive at the Round Table Hold. You should get that one.
Easy.
Should get that one. Restore a great rune. Use kindling, so that's set the Erd tree on fire. And that's most of like this might not have been the most entertaining episode, but I wanted to put all the numbers on the table and just kind of look at it as if you want to collect everything, it's a mess.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, you played it first on PlayStation?
Yeah, yep.
And so you platinumed the game. And I remember you were still working at Eagle Park when that happened, and you platinumed
Gosh, that was a while ago.
You platinumed it pretty fucking fast.
Yeah. I crushed through the game quite a bit. My second playthrough was a little more fun because it was as I was doing lore dives along the way. But my second playthrough that is very completed is not all of this, because the thought of going back and looking for the Haley Tree Crest Great Shield again, or diving into some of fucking, getting all the Celebrant weapons, I wouldn't want to do that again. I have them once, and I can look at them, I can equip them, I can play with them, and they're there. And it's mostly makes me sleep better at night for some stupid reason. But
yeah, it's a game that I think is rewarding if you really want to go for the platinum or you want to collect everything. Then, the game's already got such a sense of discover and wonder to it that adding these rare drops are almost like badges of honor for people that have stuck around as long as they did after beating the main game. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like it's bloat. I don't feel like it's even overindulging in the game.
No, it's if someone wants more to eat, there's more food available.
Yes. And am I personally going to do it? Absolutely not.
Or if someone wants more to drink, there's more alcohol available. And I'm from Wisconsin.
There is no limit to my power.
You have no power here.
My blood type is Miller Lite.
Yeah. I have a 3% blood type.
What is your blood type? About 5.1%.
Yeah, more than it should be.
I don't know.
So we have some friends from our Discord. If you want to join our Discord, check out patreon.com/hairthedogcast. We'd love to have you on there. Told us a little bit about their thoughts on the end game. First, from Bryant. I would first say that for all the complaints about the difficulty spike of the end game, the game trains you in early areas for the harder areas. Some good examples of this are the similarities between the roots of the Deep Root Depths and the Haley Tree Canopy, or the mountaintops of the Giants in Caelid. They even do it with certain bosses, like how Placidusax's Phase 2 mirrors Radon's. Yeah? I like the Placidusax boss fight a lot. Mm-hmm. That's super epic. There's a reason From puts a double Knights Cavalry in the consecrated snowfields and 3 ulcerated tree spirits in the Ashen Capital. Man, fuck that.
Yeah.
And there's a legendary talisman in there. So I ran in and ran out. Yeah, I was like the grandpa from The Simpsons on that one.
Just in the door, out the door.
Yep. There are bosses you have fought many times, and you should know their movesets well enough to handle the challenge. And that makes sense. You get used to enemy type, they ramp it up. Oh, you think you can beat a Knight's Cavalry with your horse? Here's 2 of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Where you're riding you're riding away from one, the other one just fucking clotheslines you.
Yeah.
It happens in WWE all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's the basics right there.
It's classic.
Yeah.
More specific to the actual end game, I second other people's complaints about the Elden Beast segment of the final boss fight. There should be a grace in between, or we should have access to torrent. The end game suffers in this regard because Radagon is such a perfect boss fight. It's a perfect challenge as far as boss fights go. The attack patterns, the dodging, the playing field, like the arena is really good for Radagon, and the Elden Beast is very wide, and it's more about dodging their attacks and running back. I agree. That's pretty frustrating. Chasing the Elden Beast around a huge arena while dodging his big AoEs isn't really testing your skills in the same way. It's more of a check on how many flasks you have managed to save after Radagon. As someone who has achieved all of the endings, it would have been nice to see some more variance between them. Elden Ring is a big game, and after getting such succinct and low variance ending, it is a little underwhelming. I can see that.
Yeah.
It's more of like a sentence about the future rather than showing, 3 minutes about the future. I like the concepts. Like, I don't need to see more of the Flame of Frenzy ending to get like, oh, we're in some chaos mode shit. It's the other ones that I think suffer a little bit, like the Dung Eaters and Gold Masks endings. Showing some different leaves and then some real vague sentence isn't enough for me.
Yeah.
But hey, it's all about the journey, right? It's also odd that Volcano Manor didn't get a distinct ending since that faction has its own god and philosophy for how the lands between should be managed. I'm hoping that with how they left Tanith at the end of that questline, they might add to the Volcano Manor in future DLC. I killed Tanith, so I don't think she can come back. Judge Tempest said, while exploring, they died so many times trying to get the hidden painting in Caelid and fighting the golem down there. Those root jumps were nasty. That is one of those extremely difficult jumping sections with Torrent because it's a platform game.
Why not?
0.05% of the time.
Yeah.
And that golem is the meanest golem you fight. Equally nasty was jumping down to the Cicada Dagger past the Bestial Sanctum. I was never going to know I could jump down there naturally on my own. Nobody would. I looked up all the locations I missed through my natural gameplay and went back to exploring these pieces of the game. I missed several caves, with one standout being Patches. So I never saw Patches on my first run at all.
Same.
That's crazy to me.
Yep.
I guess if you miss them in the first spot, though, they don't move.
Yeah, and I never went back there. Never met Patches. And Sap was constantly asking me if I had met Patches yet. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this is.
And he was smiling when he said it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you'll know. I was also astonished to find I missed an entire village being Jarburg. Just wild as I tried to do anything. I missed Jarburg for 99% of my first playthrough. I found it like right at the end. But that's the point. Those jars want to be safe and hidden.
Yeah, but it is also a great spot to vacation.
Great spot to pick flowers.
Yes.
I like to just go there and pick flowers.
Beautiful.
Look at all the corpses of these jars that used to be alive, except Diallo sucks at guarding them.
No.
Did I do good? No. They fucking died.
You did a terrible job.
You are the worst.
Like F.
Oh,
fail.
House Hoslow's written in blood. Way to go. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I wanted to get all the achievements, so I went back and found all the legendary items that I missed, as well as the paintings. It was fun going back to those early areas and seeing the things that I missed. I burned through New Game Plus to get all the different endings. Kudos to you. It actually doesn't take long at all once you can make a straight line to the end and are really overpowered. I went back and got all the Ashes of War from Teardrop Scarabs. I took care of all the walking mausoleums. I didn't realize I could jump onto the one in Liurnia and shoot it down with archery, or shoot it down with archery from a distance, and thought that was unattainable, so that was fun to get done. You can jump onto those, and that is always cool.
Yeah, that's dope.
The most fun for what challenge it brought was just killing everything. Obviously, the vendors were easy to kill. This is when I think Judge Tempest might be a dangerous person.
He killed the vendors?
He killed the vendors. Now, I want my bell bearings. I would never kill a vendor.
That's dangerous.
I have one character who is a shithead. No, he kills the vendors.
Oh, he does.
But I don't feel good about it, but I'm in character. Judge Tempest, shame on you for killing the vendors. Did you kill the Turtle Pope? I bet he might have. Finding all the Knights Cavalry I missed, the Deathray Birds, and it was fun killing all those disguised enemies I missed that dropped larval tears, thinking they would be easy kills, and then they are...
And boom, Rune Bear.
Boom, Rune Bear. Pocket sand. It's like, boom, Rune Bear.
Oh my god.
Shit.
Pocket Rune Bear.
Shit, I was impressed to find out I could kill the chariots through different actions. That is cool. Those, like, dungeon chariots.
I hate those things. The Iron Maiden things.
Yeah, you can kill them.
Yeah, fuck that. I run from those things.
I
might have engaged the first one I saw, and then after that, it's like you're just a no zone.
It reminds me of the Jackass skit where he says no one's ever took a shit while running full speed. I did.
Yeah.
Many times. I experimented with different builds as well as my New Game Plus. I found out that my strength and shield build wasn't the easiest way to play the game. I went back and killed what were the two hardest bosses for me with my new build. I killed the Erdtree avatar in the Halo tree that was grouped with the Knights and the Archers. I also went and killed the Bell-Bearing Hunter in Caelid. Very brutal. I did feel like the actual endgame was difficult with Malekith, Horaloo, and the Elden Beast. After fighting the Elden Beast multiple times, I came to the conclusion he is like a claw machine game. Only 1 out of 10 times is that claw going to do an actual grip and ensure the likelihood of success. Between my spirit summons and just my own ability, I found him to be rather difficult until things lined up just right without really challenging my strategy.
That's a good analogy.
Yep. You just won't win sometimes.
That's very succinct.
I don't necessarily love, I guess, I mean, it is what it is, but there's times when a game you expect it to behave a certain way, and for some reason, Sin gets 3 attacks in a row when you're fighting it, and it's supposed to get 1 attack according to the CTB, and it really bothers me because I just went and then I grinded out of a spite for 2 hours. It's like, fuck this. Sometimes he is easy, other times a real pain in the dick. And that describes Elden Ring in general, I think. And that's our friends from the Discord. We're saying that about the end game. Tyler, are you ever going to play any end game in Elden Ring?
Yeah, once the DLC starts getting closer, I'll probably jump back into the game.
I always have the itch.
Yeah, and I haven't touched it in a while, but I did have a huge backlog of games that I've been kind of cruising through. Cyberpunk was a big one. Cyberpunk's been on my radar for a while, so now that I got that out of the way, Final Fantasy X is going to get out of the way, then Spider-Man 2.
Final Fantasy X, you have about 50 hours.
I know.
And you're at about 4.
No, I'm further than that.
Barely.
No, the Blitzball tournament where they...
In Luca?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're about 5 hours in.
Feels longer.
You have a lot to do.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, because I know Spider-Man 2 is just like...
It's just taunting me.
It's just there. It's always in the back of my mind. But excited for the DLC. Excited for our upcoming Elden Dogs episodes. We will be doing a multiplayer episode. I'm going to try and get Miles on for that one because he knows what's going on with multiplayer.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a speedrunning episode. Talk about the speedrunning strategies, the glitches in the game. I don't know. There's a few other topics coming up as well. Before the DLC. Essentially, it's going to be finding whatever we can to talk about every 2 weeks until February 4th, when hopefully that is the release date.
I think we can do it.
Oh, I'm not worried. If nothing else, we can say, we're talking about this today, and we can just talk about Wisconsin lore at Zad's. The lore of Zad's. Now, for those listening, Zad's is a third shift bar? Fourth shift bar? What is it?
Like third shift bar, yeah.
It's where one lonely, depressed-looking person smokes cigarettes, blackout drunk at 6 a.m., and they look at you weird for walking by to get coffee.
Yeah. I got yelled at the last time I was in Zad's.
I've never been in.
Yeah.
I never would.
I went in there I've been in there twice. One time I got yelled at.
Yeah.
For no good reason.
I almost went as an Albinoric for Halloween.
Instead, you went as?
Peacemaker.
Yeah, nice.
One of them. Actually, I think I'd get more recognition for the Albinoric than Peacemaker. Most people didn't know. Some people call me Homelander. I was like, get your shit together.
Oh my God. You couldn't even be further off.
You couldn't be even further off. And we'll do an episode about the manga. The manga is really good, but it's like, when do you do it? Because it's not nearly complete.
Yeah.
But yes, this has been Elden Dogs. We're part of the Hair of the Dog cast. If you have thoughts or questions, did you beat the end game? Do you have all the armor? Tell us about it. Reach out on Instagram at Hot Dogcast, at Hair of the Dogcast, on Twitter at Hot Dogcast, and Facebook, all that stuff. You can email us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com if you want access to a bunch of bonus episodes, our after show, everything early, everything great. Check out patreon.com/hairofthedogcast. Special thanks to executive producers Rykard Kristinik, Malekith the Black Blade, Blackguard Big Brian Ward, Jordan Hoslow, Sorceress of Blood, Festering Fingerprint Phil Wright. Hair of the Dogcast appreciates you.